Thank you. Well, first of all, good to see everyone. Day 2 of Sunbelt Media Days. Hope everyone had a great summer. I want to start off by saying thank you for your interest in Arkansas State University and also for your interest in this great conference, of the Sunbelt Conference. I also want to thank you for all that you do for college football. And really, most importantly, this is what it's all about. Thank you for what you do for all of our student athletes. All the positive information that's put out there, it's very well deserving. I'd also like to thank Commissioner Gill for his leadership and his vision. As we all know right now, we're kind of navigating through some challenging and difficult times in college football. I'd also like to say congratulations on his extension through 2030. His agent did a heck of a job. That's a great extension. But we're excited to have him through 2030 and his vision for this conference. We'd like to also welcome the 4 new programs and members to the conference: Old Dominion, James Madison, Southern Miss, and Marshall. I think when you look at a conference, you look at it from top to bottom. Everything is about competitive balance, and I think that's what separates the Sunbelt Conference now. In terms of us at Arkansas State, we're excited about the new opportunities this year, but more equally excited about our new direction and leadership on campus. It starts with our new Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics, Jeff Purinton, who comes to us from the University of Alabama after being there for 15 years, and then our new Chancellor, Dr. Todd Shields, who comes to us from the University of Arkansas. And I think when you add quality individuals to everything that you're building, they've seen what great looks like. We're very excited about that. The 2 players that we have up here representing our football program have meant so much to us in a very short period of time. You're a byproduct of your experiences, and they bring great experiences and great leadership to our program. Starts off with our quarterback, James Blackman from South Bay or Belglade, Florida, and Kivon Bennett, our linebacker from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thing I could say about them that really summarizes them, their biggest accomplishment, I think, has been accomplished already. They're both college graduates and have their college degrees, and I think that speaks volumes for them. In terms of our team, we're looking forward to year 2 and making marked improvements in all areas of our program. When I talk about all areas of our program, I'm talking about the physical development, the speed development, the attitude development, the team chemistry, the work ethic and preparation, and just an overall mindset in our football program. I think to date, we've had a very good off season and a very productive summer with our players. It still goes back to, though, learning how to win, and not just wanting to win, but deserving to win each and every day. The mindset that involves and really understanding what winning football looks like, not only on days of competition, but throughout the course of the week, and the overall discipline that it also takes to play winning football. We've taken tremendous strides in these areas, and we have to continue to grow and develop over a long football season. As we all know, for us, it's going to be a model of consistency and performance each and every day. In terms of these individuals and the rest of our older players, leadership's going to be paramount in our program. If you had an opportunity to look at our roster, 70% of our scholarship players are either entering their first or their second year in college football. So the locker room's going to be a big part of that. In terms of our overall talent level, we feel we've been able to improve our talent level through our recruiting class of incoming freshmen, but also the transfer portal as well. We've been able to add 14 individuals from the transfer portal into our program, but not only bringing a level of competition and depth in our program, we also needed leadership. And so one of the big criteria in the transfer portal is what could they bring to the table in terms of leadership and overall locker room growth and development. And we've added some powerful individuals that have helped change a culture and develop the mindset with our principles and our values. One of those individuals is Eddie Smith, who was with us at Alabama, then was at the University of Illinois. He's a safety for us. He's come in and done a remarkable job. Jordan Carmouche is a transfer linebacker from the University of Houston. And then Champ Fleming's a wide receiver transfer from Oregon State, just to name a few. In terms of coaching staff updates, we're excited about our 4 new additions to our coaching staff with Marquise Lovings, who coaches our running backs, Jay Simpson, our defensive backs, Vincent Reynolds, our defensive line, and Jake Schoonover, our special team coordinator and safeties. And then we had 2 coaching changes in terms of positionally speaking, where Andy Kwan will coach the offensive line and Matt Limegrover will now coach the tight ends. The other criteria we wanted good teachers, effective communicators, good people, but we also wanted great experience. We wanted to bring individuals in that have recruited and coached at the highest levels, and we feel we've been able to do that with those 4 additions. But all have brought energy, enthusiasm, and have developed strong relationships with our players. The other individual that's been paramount in the growth and development of our football program, and I bring James up as an example. He just came back from the DEXA scan, which is a full body assessment, and over a short period of time, James has added 12 pounds of muscle, his muscle mass, and that's a direct product of our sports performance staff and Jeff Jones, and they do an exceptional job. And that's in its purest form when you come in and you watch your players excited to come in the building, excited to get better, excited about getting in the weight room, and that starts with Jeff Jones and his staff. In closing, I take great pride in representing Arkansas State University. I take great pride in representing the state of Arkansas, and I take great pride in representing Northeast Arkansas as well. And we're excited for what we're building here. And again, just in closing, thank you for all that you do for the Sun Belt. And this turnout is remarkable. This obviously is my 2nd media day, and I've seen it grow and grow. And I think we're on the verge of really doing something special in this conference. So at this point in time, I'll take any questions, or our 2 student athletes will take any questions that you may have.
We'll now take questions for Coach Jones and our student athletes. For those of you in the room, if you have a question, we ask you to please raise your hand and wait for a microphone to come to you. We also ask you to please stand, if you would, when you do your question so we can pick you up on camera. Please state your name and your media affiliation before you ask your question. And for those of you joining us on Zoom, please type in your questions into the chat, and I will read them aloud. First, any questions from in the room?
Coach Jones, Emmanuel Peppa Sunbelt Conference. Just wanted to get you to talk about, you kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but were there any specific off-season goals that you set for this team to kind of talk about and go back to what you were talking about with just making those strides and continuing to get better as you guys go into this season?
Absolutely. There are a number of goals, but I think first and foremost, it starts with building a family, a team chemistry, a camaraderie. As we all know, we all face challenges and difficulties with transfer portal and newcomers coming into your program, but I think the most important thing was us to grow closer as a football program and a football team, and individuals spending inordinate amounts of time, not at the facility, but outside the facility. I think that's when that really happens, and our players have done a remarkable job with that. I can't tell you the amount of text messages. It'd be 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday evening at 9 o'clock, and I get a text message and there's 20 guys in the indoor working out. And, that's a byproduct of the leadership that's grown in development. So I would say the overall team chemistry, learning each other, about each other off the field. On the field is one thing, but off the field. So I think that's where that all started. And then, make no mistake about it, we have to become a much more physical and tougher football team. The other thing we did is we had a group of Navy SEALs come in this off season and spend time with our team on what it is to be a leader, kind of define leadership, the qualities that go into it, the ability to communicate, but also more importantly probably is what it is to be a good teammate. So we spend an inordinate amount of time on those intangibles.
I have a Zoom question both for Coach and for James Blackman. The Red Wolves struggled to run the football at times last year. What will you do this year to try to make your running game more consistent?
Well, I think first of all, it's staying the course in what we believe in. We knew we had to get bigger, stronger, more explosive up front. I'm excited about our running back position. I think it's one of the most complete positions we have on our football team right now. I think Johnny Lang, who's a returner, has had one of the best off seasons we've had of anyone on our football program. So I'm excited about the running backs. I think Coach Kivon has done a tremendous job of developing a mindset within the offensive line, and I think some of our new additions will help there as well. James?
I feel the same way. I feel like we've grown a lot of confidence when it comes down to running the ball. Obviously, our passing game will help that out, and obviously the run game will help out the passing game, but it comes to the guys up front. I feel like those guys have been doing a tremendous job getting stronger in the weight room, getting faster, and they're motivated than ever. They want to have a good run game so we can have a good team.
Also have a Zoom question for Kivon. What can you do this year to be more physical defensively?
Just a better overall mindset of how we approach when we're going out there. Sometimes we'll go out there and coach will tell you just feel like we wasn't mentally prepared and we'll start off super sluggish and feel like we're just not ready to play out there. And it's not that we couldn't play with people, it's just that we wasn't ready to play with them. So we'll start off and they'll start beating us, 7-0, 14-0, 21-0, and then the switch flipped in our heads that it's time to play football. Well, I think the difference this year will be as long as we come out and we know and we don't have to flip no switch and we just all on the same accord, and I think that'll help the overall physicality and just strength of the defense completely.
James, question for you. Just talking about, obviously, there's always a hunger for every new season that starts, but especially for you after being injured last year and missing a part of the year, just kind of talk about how, first of all, your recovery went and what it means, if it means a little bit more after having to miss a portion of last season.
Honestly, missing a portion of last season, it helped me a lot. I became more obsessed with the game of football, more obsessed with being around the game of football, being around my teammates, and just understanding that when you hurt, you still can mean a lot to the team, bring value to the team, just encouraging guys, getting them in the great spirits and having them ready to play. So I feel like the recovery was great. It gave me time to sit back and understand the next steps I needed to take as a leader, and I'm more hungry than ever to get back on the field with my teammates.
Well, for Coach and then KB, but for you, Coach, first, Brad Bobo with the Ticket Radio Network. We got to talk about a lot of spots today, but we didn't necessarily talk about place kicking and kick return. Who do you have in those mixes?
Yeah, that's going to be a big element of our team, obviously, our specialist. We'll have 3 individuals that will compete for the kicking spot. They've been in the program with Tristan Matson and Aiden Ellison, and then Dominic Zavada, who come in as a true freshman. So again, they'll compete each and every day with that in terms of every single day, and that'll be a big part of what we do because everything we talk about in our football program is playing complementary football. So we'll compete every day, and then we'll name a starter when they win the job. And I'm sorry, what was your last question?
Kick return.
Kick returner. Johnny Lang will be an individual who brings another element. Like I said, he's one of the most improved players that we have on our football team. Another individual transfer from Oregon State, Champ Flemings, who did that as well at Oregon State, will be in the mix as well.
And then, Kivon, you're an all-conference guy setting the edge last year. You go back to linebacker, talk about just the conversations you guys had, what made that the right move for you?
Right. So what made that the right move for me is after overlooking what we did last year and just getting a feel of what's best for me, talking to the scouts and what they want to see me at, and it just everybody kind of felt like it was just a more natural switch for me as far as like body type and play style and stuff. Allows me to make a little more plays. I feel as though playing linebacker, because a lot of times last year, if I was at end, a lot of teams would just slide the protection, and I was catching double and triple teams all year. And all I got to do is run the ball away from me and kind of phase me out of the play. But now that I'm at that second level, I kind of get a little more opportunities to fly around and show off my athleticism. So really the decision that made that was just we want to just make sure that I'm doing what's best for me for my professional career.
Yes, Coach. Ted Lewis with the Times-Picayune. With the increased freedom for players to transfer and also the NIL, what are the challenges for Arkansas State at roster management and so forth? And is there a concern, someone like you who've been around a long time, for want of a better word, honor among coaches with all these new twists in the profession?
Well, it's kind of the way of the world right now. And, it's all about how can you create value for your players. But, there are some challenges. And I think the thing we have to do is at Arkansas State is continue to create value for our players. But I think we can't lose sight of, college football is still part of the educational value. There's still a college education means something. The ability to play on a team and be a part of a team that, nothing's bigger than the team, to be a part of winning football, to be a part of a college community, to be a part of a great town that we have in Jonesboro. We have a lot of industries. There's a lot of opportunities for our players with name, image, and likeness. So again, it's part of the world that we live in. I think we have an advantage there just because of all the industry and the passion that people have for Arkansas State football in Jonesboro, Northeast Arkansas. But I do think we have to get some competitive balance in college football and get some type of regulations and moving forward. I think every coach feels that way. And when you talk about honor amongst coaches, I think that's where that comes down to. And, especially at our level, the fear is you go out and I'll just be very transparent with you. We have the #1 recruiting class in the Sun Belt, and we make a concerted effort to go recruit mostly high school seniors. And so, I think the thing we have to be careful of is that, we continue to grow and develop our players, but we build an affinity within them for Arkansas State. And, you can accomplish everything that you want at Arkansas State. You don't have to go to any other program. And, everything in our program centered around the total development of the student athlete. So as we continue to grow and elevate and develop our players, they can develop everything that they want to. I mean, I go back, you're a byproduct of your experiences. Some of the best players we coached when we were at Central Michigan University, and I don't think people realize our first recruiting class at Central Michigan was comprised of J.J. Watt and Antonio Brown. And our last year, we had 11 individuals playing in the National Football League, and some of them are still playing. You look at Nick Ballore, who I was with 2 weeks ago. He's the captain of the Seattle Seahawks, and he was our linebacker. He was a pulling guard, wing T out of Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin at Central Michigan. So my point is this, is our players can accomplish anything in our program that they could accomplish anywhere else. And that's kind of our mindset in developing our program.
I have a Zoom question for Coach and for both James and Kivon. There was talk yesterday about how powerful the Sun Belt East Division was. Is the Sun Belt West Division getting ignored?
I know this, from top to bottom, it's as competitive a conference as there is. And then when you look at the 4 additions to this conference and you look at what they've been able to accomplish over a course of time, you look at their brand recognition, and I do, it's kind of like everyone talks about the SEC West, the SEC East. Well, it's the same thing. I think, on our side, I think what makes it exciting is anyone and everyone has an opportunity to end the season being the divisional champion. So I think from top to bottom, and especially on our side, and I think that's the biggest thing when we talk about developing a toughness and a mindset, is when you play in a conference like this, you have to bring your A game each and every week. And then I think when you look at our conference and then you look at our challenging non-conference schedules, it's a grind. But in our conference, you have to bring your A game every single week or you're going to get beat. And then I think, one bad day in our conference can take you from all your dreams, goals, and aspirations. So there's a toughness that goes involved in being in a competitive conference such as this.
Really, I just feel as though that most people don't realize how competitive the Sun Belt is. You have all of these teams who are continuously some of the best programs in the nation, and especially out of the group of fives. You know, we got the ULLs and the Coastals and the App States and all of these teams who continuously give these supposed, Power 5 big programs runs for their money year in and year out. So I don't think most people realize how competitive this conference is. And then you just added a couple more teams who have kind of been on the same type of wave on these last few years of just being continuously good programs. So, man, it's a lot of competition in our conference, but especially as far as our division, as our side of the division, I feel as though it's wide open. I don't feel like it's a set team of who most people think is going to win. I really think it's going to be a week in, week out type of deal to see who wins our side of the division. So I'm just excited to compete, man. I'm just always excited to compete.
Well, I feel the same way. I feel like it's a lot of competition from top to bottom. Like they said, week in and week out, you never know what the outcome will be. So I don't feel like no side is getting the shy end of the stick. I feel like it's competitiveness all over the conference, and it'll show throughout the season.
This is for Kivon and James. Of course, every game is a same goal, but a different opportunity as well. First road game, week 2, you guys get to go to Ohio State. Of course, you guys coming from Power 5 programs, what do you tell some of the younger guys who their first college road experience is going to be in an atmosphere like that?
Don't be too overwhelmed. They put the pads on just like us. The ball still had to be kicked off. We put in the work. They put in the work. So just don't get too overwhelmed by the crowd, the environment you're in. Embrace it. You should want to be in that type of environment.
The biggest thing that I would tell them guys is just to relax and just realize that it's the same game that we've been playing since we was kids. It's just at a different stage. But don't let the crowd or the size of the stadium or the name of the program, distract what we got going on. Like, we still have a goal. Like Black said, we still got to kick the ball off. Both halves still have to be played. So it's nothing set in stone about a game like a day of football before it happens. Like, anything can go on. So I just tell them boys not to get wide-eyed and just relax and just have fun and play football, man. Just what we do what we're coached to do every single day. So I would say that's what I would tell them.
Coach, Kivon, James, we appreciate you being here with us. Good luck to you going forward this season.
Thank you again.
We'll now take a break for lunch. We will resume here.